Good is the enemy of great. There is an underlying question professionals and companies alike must ask themselves. Am I great? So, what does it mean to be great? Jim Collins attempts to answer this question through research and observation, as any human should, because we learn by experience. Ironically, despite the many years businesses have remained in operation, it becomes clear that throughout Collins' book, they are just good companies. They have the potential to be great, but they are not seizing the opportunity. The study goes like this. 1,435 companies examined based on performance over 40 years were recorded and analyzed. Only 11 of those companies out of the sample were considered to have become great. And Jim Collins walks us through exactly why 0.7% of these companies did it better. Just as a child faces new challenges and opens doors to opportunity, there has to be some kind of change, a physical change from good to great. Let's talk about a few of the myths Collins knocks in his book. An approach that launches a new change with a tagline and then minor changes subsequently. The idea that change solely starts when unmotivated employees are persuaded under dire circumstances, then a change is needed. The myth that money in the form of bonuses, higher salaries, and stock options can be used as an incentive to spark change. We are told that change occurs as a result of our fear of failure, losing, or being left behind. The idea that you can buy your way to success because you can grow as a company is a myth, according to Collins. We believe that emerging technology can put a company out in front of any competitor, which should lead it to become a great company. And we are taught that change has to be large-scale, painstaking, and a discontinuing break in the way we do what we do in business. It's not true. Jim Collins makes it clear that for any good company to become great, it is fundamental that leaders reject these myths and understand their lack of effectiveness to justify the need for a different kind of change. In his findings, Collins challenges these myths we are so accustomed to. The truth, according to Collins, is that companies that make the breakthrough from good to great did not use a change program. The companies that were recognized as great did not cry out in a crisis and attribute their change to a motivated workforce. Their people should be self-motivated. There's no significant correlation between monetary incentive and the 11 companies' change into something greater. Fear is what degrades a good company as mediocre. Technology pushes a company out in front of its competition only after change has already charted its course. Dramatic results do not come from a dramatic process, just as Collins would put it. A revolutionary change can bring a company's short-term profits up and make shareholders' dreams come true for such a short time, but the ultimate goal of a great firm is sustainability. So what makes a company great? A great company had to perform at least 3 times better than the general stock market over a 15-year period to receive the recognition in Jim Collins' research project. That means that the companies who set up a program or made changes out of fear, who could only outperform the market for a few years, did not prove themselves by a lack of sustainable performance and ultimately a lack of greatness. Firms such as Kroger, Abbott, Fannie Mae, and Wells Fargo were among the 11 great companies, and research found something astonishing that would lead Collins' book describing the paramount process that could make a good company great. Rather than a miracle happening in a mere moment to change everything for a short period of time, rather than a quick fix program that is doomed to lead companies into a loop of disappointing results and zero momentum to lunge towards greatness, we are given a tangible and practical framework for companies committed to excellence. Jim Collins used an egg as an analogy to explain our desire to find a miracle moment when a company suddenly became great. Like how a chicken evolves within an egg before emerging from its shell, we do not realize the internal evolution that takes place before a company becomes great. We only find out later, after trying to pinpoint one miracle moment, that there was a process occurring in the production of something brilliant. There's no overnight sensation. There's no automated switch that can be turned on. But there is the flywheel. To go from good to great, you need to generate momentum through sustained effort. Pushing the company forward steadily by consistently pushing the flywheel, producing a good company and effective change. The persistent force behind the flywheel will build up evidence of successful results that produce confidence in the company, that lay the foundation for great companies. People want to contribute more when they're on the winning team because they get the satisfaction of seeing the tangible results rather than hoping for a miracle moment. First, you have to have disciplined people. You have to know where you are going and how you are going to get there, but you have to know who's going with you. The great companies started with the people before the destination. Find the right people to get on board with you, direct the wrong people away, and then get the right people in the right seats. Once you have the people, then you set the direction, built with discipline. Because circumstances should not change the end goal. The right people are self-motivated individuals that will produce results, and the wrong people will be stagnant, causing the firm to remain mediocre. Next, you have to have disciplined thought. Jim Collins makes this distinction between a fox and a hedgehog, according to an old Greek parable. Foxes think about many small things, while a hedgehog knows only one big thing. The leaders of the 11 great companies thought like a hedgehog rather than a fox. According to Collins, these leaders can effectively simplify a complex world into a single principle or an organized idea. Using the hedgehog concept, there are 3 pivotal questions a leader should ask him or herself. 1. What can we be the best in the world at? And what are we not so good at? 2. What is the best economic denominator driving our engine? It's either profit or cash flow or another determinant. And 3, what are our core people deeply passionate about? The best leaders will face the harsh truths to these questions, and it will spark their disciplined thought, ultimately leading to reciprocation from employees. And lastly, you have to take disciplined action. Leaders of good companies hoping to become great should create something that can simply be left on a desk next to a to-do list. Make a stop doing list. Anything and everything that diminishes or hinders your disciplined thought as a leader should be cast out and removed from the picture. Kimberly-Clark sold all of its paper mills, which it had maintained as its source of revenue, for 100 years in order to take a gigantic leap into the consumer business. Pretty much everybody and every magazine and every news source thought it was a terrible idea, but over a 25-year span and under strong leadership, Kimberly-Clark became the #1 paper-based consumer products company in the world, beating out Procter & Gamble and beating the market by 4 times. Leaders who want a great company ought to make a stop doing list and take disciplined action. In conclusion, despite the amount of time it takes to go from good to great, according to Jim Collins, I believe the wait is worth it in the long run, and so does every business leader, company, analyst, anyone who has his book because of its effect on the world of business. So, if you take this advice and you want to start somewhere, start with people. Build your circle. Be a leader, a strong leader, and then find what works for you.